everybody. Today we are making a creamy, cheesy, garlicky Brussels sprout casserole. And if you're watching this, I'm going to assume that you love Brussels sprouts like I do, or at least willing to give them a second chance. If you're not sure you like Brussels sprouts, or if maybe you're a little embarrassed to admit that you love them, I'm just here to let you know that you are not alone.
Is this thing on? This thing on? Okay. I'm with the Vegetarian Underground. Our message? Vegetables won't hurt you. Our current mission? Brussels sprouts. If you love Brussels sprouts, but have been afraid to tell anyone, and you find yourself cooking in the garage at midnight just to hide it, I'm here to tell you, you're not alone. I found a cook willing to help us get our message out. She goes by the code name Blondie. Take a look.
So if you're lucky enough to get your Brussels sprouts at a farmer's market, you'll know that they come on a stalk, which is really cool, and they come in varying sizes. You want to try to get consistently sized ones. I have very varying sizes, so I'm going to be cutting them differently. So Brussels sprouts actually are really good for you. They have a lot of folic acid and iron and a ton of vitamin K, almost 250% of the daily recommended amount, and a lot more vitamin C than even an orange. So they're really good for you. So first we're going to prep our Brussels sprouts, and you just want to simply cut off the little ends, the stem ends. Sometimes they'll be a little bit browned from being in the store. And then we're just going to cut them in half. Now, since I have some pretty big ones and some pretty small ones, I think I'm going to cut the larger ones into quarters. And we're just going to set these all aside in a bowl, and we're just going to blanch them in boiling water for 2 minutes. No longer. You don't want to cook them. We're going to be baking them. So I'll prep them, boil them for 2 minutes, drain them, and be back to make our sauce. Now, if you have any of the outer leaves that have blemishes or are yellowing, then discard those, but save any other loose leaves that fall off, and we'll just put those in our casserole too. So our Brussels sprouts are nicely blanched, really bright green and ready. So we'll just drain them and set them aside here. And now we're going to go over to the stove to just quickly throw together our cheesy, creamy sauce. So to make our sauce, we have just get a regular sized pan, put it on medium-low, depending on your stove. And we're going to simply start with melting 2 tablespoons of butter. And remember to have already preheated your oven to 350 to get that ready. Okay, to our melted butter, we are going to add 2 cloves of chopped garlic. Saute that for about 30 seconds just to get the raw taste out, but you don't want to burn it. I'm going to switch to a whisk now, because now that garlic is a little bit sauteed, you are going to quickly add 2 tablespoons of flour. This is going to make your roux, and it's what's going to thicken up our sauce when it bakes. And you just want to cook your flour just long enough, just maybe 30 seconds, until it gets that raw flour smell out. Now we are going to add our 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise. Just whisk that in. This is going to just give it help thicken it just a little bit, and also give it just another layer of creaminess. Now I'm going to turn off the heat, leave it on the burner, and slowly add my 1.5 cups of milk. Whatever milk you like to use is fine. This happens to be half and half. It's usually what I have on hand. And you just want to whisk this until it's incorporated and smooth. While you're still whisking it and it's still a little bit warm, we're going to add about 1 cup of grated Parmesan cheese. This is a 1 1/4 cup, but I'm going to save just a little bit aside to sprinkle on the top before we bake it. So you just want to stir this until the cheese melts in. And to this, I'm just going to simply add a little bit of salt and pepper. about a half a teaspoon, I would say, of salt, and a few grinds of pepper. Pepper is really good with this, so don't be shy. So now I'm just gonna go get our Brussels sprouts to add to our pan. So we've just added our Brussels sprouts to our creamy, cheesy mixture. Mix it in a little bit, and then we're just gonna go add it to our casserole pan. So I've got a small casserole dish here that's been greased. You can either butter it. I've just sprayed mine with a little bit of cooking spray. It's about a 10 by 7 inch pan. And we are just going to put this all in here. Now this is going to bake at 350 for anywhere between 40 and 50 minutes, depending on the size of the Brussels sprouts. So what you want to do is at about 40 minutes, just with a fork, give it a fork done test and just see if they're soft. If the fork goes into one of them easily, then you're probably done. Okay, I'm just going to spread it around, sprinkle with the last little quarter cup of the Parmesan cheese to give it a nice little browning on top. And I'm going to pop this in the oven uncovered, and I'll be back in 40 minutes to check it with my fork. Okay, so at 40 minutes, I checked it with my fork and I didn't think they were quite tender enough, so I cooked them for 5 more minutes, and now I think they're perfect. A little bit browned on top. It smells like creamy, cheesy, garlicky, roasted vegetables. So let me give it a try. You might want to let it cool off for a minute before you eat it. It's very hot. Very good. Oh, the Parmesan cheese, that little hint of garlic. I think even if you think you don't like Brussels sprouts, I think you might change your mind after trying these. So I hope you'll give them a try. Check out the website for the downloadable recipe, noboneslife.com. And while you're there, maybe subscribe to the newsletter so you'll get an announcement when our next video is up on YouTube. Thanks for watching.